here today speaking with Christopher Roden. He is the Managing Director of C3 Capital. Chris, if you could please talk to us about a recent transaction you've closed.
Sure. We covered some of it yesterday. It's with a really unique company in Grand Junction, Colorado that operates a global business. It's called Reynolds Polymer Technology. They are the worldwide leader in the design, construction, and manufacture of acrylic sheet. And let me tell you what that means a little bit so you understand what that is. It's made from monomer and polymer, and the design and engineering of making thickness out of basically acrylic and plastic. The company started in about 32 years ago at Newport Beach making windows for submarines for the U.S. Navy. They've now expanded the business of the 1,682 aquariums on the globe. They've built 1,500 of them. They built every Apple store you've ever been in. Have a lot of defense uses for the product, a lot of commercial uses. If you've ever been on a Disney ship and have been in the slides or the tubes, that's their product as well. So,
wow.
Global business. They have a manufacturing and distribution facility in Pattaya, Thailand as well. Started by a wonderful entrepreneur named Roger Reynolds, and we worked with him to acquire controlling interest in the company last year.
Great. And how is this deal sourced?
You know, it's an interesting story, rather unique. And at C3 Capital, we've done 60 investments these past 12 years, always working closely with entrepreneurs. Every now and then, we work with the independent sponsor community. In this case, in Scottsdale, there's a company called Cactus Capital that basically, after a speaking engagement, they asked me if I had a minute. I said, sure. And they said, we have this interesting deal in Colorado. We can't get anybody to really look at it. And I said, I'll take a look. And it's a complex investment to look at, given some of the accounting used. It's percentage of completion accounting, it's project work, and it's a global business with assets outside the United States, which precludes a lot of people from wanting to take the time to look at it. Our experience both in the U.S. and abroad, and our experience over the years led us to dig in a little bit. Matter of fact, I met with, the deal was brought to me on Tuesday, and Roger Reynolds was leaving for Thailand on Thursday, so I flew up there on Wednesday, able to meet him, and it's really a company that shows very well. And when you see it, you understand it. To look at it on a piece of paper or just discuss the financial engineering, you're not going to get the full picture. And like I said, when you're us and you're out there, meeting with the entrepreneurs and a little touch feel of the product and what the customers are like, it starts to come together for you.
And can you talk to us about other parties involved in this transaction and what their roles were?
Dan Mahoney and Ed Brown from Cactus Capital, as independent sponsors, brought the deal to us, helped significantly with the due diligence process, and as I said, not your run-of-the-mill type company to quickly understand. You have to roll up your sleeves a little bit, and they did, and we did, and we have an experienced, obviously, due diligence team in Kansas City, and more importantly, a very qualified management team on the ground in Grand Junction. They understood what they wanted to do. They were very helpful and very eager for the transaction because it's a growth business, and really that's what we do at C3. We invest in growth businesses, and it was just a good team. It was a very good experience, and we moved through the process pretty quickly.
Great. What would you say was the most challenging aspect?
It does have a foreign operation, so while we at C3 can understand that and deal with it, a lot of the typical financing sources, i.e. banks in the country, just assume not deal with it. And when you have a certain percentage of assets or income or EBITDA coming from an overseas operation, basically they tend to discount that a little bit. And that's a little unfair, at least in my opinion. But that made it a little complex. And also, the percentage of completion accounting that is used in the business, as in any project finance type of operation, requires a little work and a little more understanding, and it creates a longer working capital cycle, which you have to get your mind around. And lucky for us and my colleagues at C3, we had the experience to do that. So interesting parts of that deal would lead to the understanding of those aspects, and of course the Thailand operation as well. I would say that were the most challenging parts.
And can you talk to us about the differences between the Thailand operation and maybe a company operating in the United States?
Sure. It's interesting because it's an evolutionary process. I think that when most investors or buyers in the United States look at Asian operations, they think of producing commodity product, i.e. very little value add, low cost labor, widget making, so to speak. It's true, the bulk of the engineering and the design expertise at a company like Reynolds is in Grand Junction. And it is true that the Thai operation was started as basically a production of what we call commodity acrylic sheet. But also at the same time, the world gets a little smaller in that there is a knowledge transfer going on. Asia is a very large market for the company. As I said, it's a global business. And I think when you look where population growth is and where the future sale of the product is going to be, it's probably not going to be so much in the U.S. So we will always have good business here. But it's going to be in Asia, to a certain extent, South America, Eastern Europe. So I think you can't look at it as having, you know, one aspect of production there and one here. It kind of grows into one another.
Interesting.
So to speak. So there has been knowledge and expertise over to the Thai operation, which I think creates a stronger company and a much greater enterprise value at the end of the day.
Definitely. That's a very interesting insight, Chris.
Thanks. No worries.
Thank you. Well, I appreciate you sitting down and talking with us today.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me. Happy to be here.
Thank you.
Have a good day.
You too.